You see, there's greatness in this room. And the reason why I bring that up is because sometimes we don't realize the greatness within us. And so let me say it again. There is greatness in you. I don't just think this, I know this. And when it really comes down to it, it's all about perspective. Now, I read one book every 2 weeks. They say the average college graduate reads one book every 15 months. Some of you are like, yeah, that sounds right. And all the books I read, I ask myself, why is it high achievers, movers and shakers make it happen? I read a lot of autobiographies and biographies because I want to understand what separates one person from another. And what I come to realize, high achievers, movers and shakers, the one thing they all do is they take action. Yes, action. But let's be honest, what's the thing that holds people back from taking action? You know the answer. Fear. F-E-A-R. False expectations appearing real. And what I want you to understand is that you'll never walk in your greatness, in your godly greatness, until you're able to step outside your comfort zone. Most people just want to play it safe in their comfort zone. And what I want you to understand, all your dreams, all your goals, all your aspirations, it's outside your comfort zone. And so what you have to do is you have to say, okay, how do I get outside my comfort zone? You know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And isn't that true about life? Sometimes we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. We want something better, but yet we're caught in our comfort zone. And when it comes down to fear, you will never walk in your greatness until you're able to step outside your comfort zone. And so I've got two questions to help you move through fear. And the reason why I know this is so real, because think about it. How many of you, when you're a little kid, you know, you learned how to ride a bicycle. Before you learn how to ride a two-wheel bike, you learn on a tricycle, three-wheel, okay? How many of you learn on a bicycle with training wheels? Okay, all right. And what I want you to understand, do you remember that time when the training wheels came off? Or you moved from a tricycle to a bicycle, a two-wheel bike, and there you are, you're on the bicycle, and your mom, your dad, your big brother, big sister are right there, and they're holding you. And they're like, are you ready to go? And you're like, yeah, I'm ready. And all of a sudden they start walking with you, right? And you're there, you're just hanging on, and all of a sudden they say, okay, you ready? And you're like, yeah, I'm ready. And all of a sudden they let you go. Now some of you were like me, some of you are like, ah! And you ran into the car, but you got back up. And isn't that how life really is? Yeah, there's gonna be times when you fall, but it's not a matter of whether or not you fall, it's about whether or not you get back up. You see, I stand before you, and I gotta be honest with you, yeah, I traveled, I've spoken in 45 states, 27 countries, all throughout the world. And what I've come to realize is that, you know, I'm just Marlon. I'm not walking on water, but the one thing is, I stepped outside my comfort zone. Because public speaking used to be my number one fear. Now I get paid to speak. It's amazing. All because I took action. But I want you to understand, when I went to University of Virginia, I studied electrical engineering in school. Pretty good at math and science. My mom's a mathematics teacher, and all of my brothers and I, and you know, all of our family were really pretty good at math and science. And public speaking and writing, that was not my thing. And so I thought, okay, hey, engineer, electrical engineer, I'm gonna go ahead and focus on math and science. But guess what? I was tricked. At the University of Virginia, even as an engineering student, we had to take humanities courses. And it was amazing. I'll never forget, one of our professors, he had us writing papers, he had us giving presentations. And what was so amazing is that my last name is Smith, and the student before me, Sanchez. And so the professor would go alphabetical order to call us up to speak. And he would say, Sanchez, come on up. And I watched Sanchez come up to the front of the classroom, and Sanchez would start giving his presentation. As I'm watching Sanchez, I'm looking at Sanchez and I'm watching the clock. And I'm saying to myself, take your time, Sanchez, take your time. Because I didn't want to go. But you know and I know, eventually the professor say, Smith. And I come up to the front, and I can feel my heart beating real fast. And y'all know what I'm talking about? When you want to do something, you're a little scared? Yeah. I feel my knees buckling, I can feel myself a little shaking. Sometimes if it was a long presentation, foam be coming out my mouth. That fear had me. And so what did I do? I said, hey, I could have just said, you know, woe is me, you know, public speaking is not my thing. But no, what I did was, one of my fraternity brothers, I'll never forget, he brought an article into a fraternity meeting. And he said they went and interviewed different CEOs, top Fortune 500 companies. And they said, why did somebody move up the corporate ladder? The number one response was a positive attitude. Number one response. Number two response was excellent communication skills, both written and oral. When my fraternity brother shared that article with us, I said, something within me said, you know what? Man, I want to move up the corporate ladder. I want to be successful. And so if public speaking is something I got to overcome, I'm willing to do it. And so sure enough, I went ahead and took a public speaking class. And I got to be honest with you, my first public speaking classes, at University of Virginia, they bombed. They bombed. But like anything, the more you do something, the better you become. And so all of a sudden, then I became more comfortable with it. I started forcing myself to raise my hand if I was in a audience and just ask a question, and then it became more comfortable. And it's just like you, for those of you that have your driver's license, you know what I'm talking about. When we were first learning how to drive, we were all nervous, everything. And now you're driving, you don't even think about it. I mean, some of you driving, hey, not even like both hands on the steering wheel. But that's what I'm saying. The more you do something, the better you become. And so how do we really, come on now, this is it. This mind, there's a battle. I remember as a little kid, you watch the cartoons and there was a good angel and there was a bad angel, right? And the battleground is your mind, right? You want to do something, but fear pops up. And so what I'm here to tell you is that you'll never walk in your greatness until you're able to step outside your comfort zone into your fears. That's real talk. But let me ask you, is fear real? I see some people shaking their head no, some people say yes. Let's find out. Okay, who has a fear of heights? Okay, a few people. Who has a fear of spiders? Okay, homeboy got both hands up in the back, all right? Who's got fear of rejection? Oh, wow. Who's got fear of public speaking? Whoa, look at that. Yep, that's about right. 63% of all Americans' number one fear is public speaking. Greater than death. That means if you go to 100 Americans, you say, do you want to speak or do you want to die? 63 will say, give me death, all right? Straight up. And so I share that with you because it's real. Anybody got a fear of your mother, your father pulling out that belt? Okay, I'm okay. Hey, you're safe with us, okay? Homegirl having flashbacks, all right? But what I want you to understand is that there's greatness within you. So when you want to do something and all of a sudden fear comes up, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of what will people say, I've got two questions I want to share with you that's changed my life. When you're standing in front of fear, it's in that critical moment, ladies and gentlemen, watch this visual. It's in that critical moment. That's when you either step into your fears or you step back. How many of you know what I'm talking about when I say, when you look back on your life, you have some regrets? Anybody? Yeah, thank you for being honest. What regrets are is this. This is it. It's a visual. You want to do something. It's out there. You want to do something, but then fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of what will people say pops up in your mind. And instead of stepping into your fear, you step back. And that's what causes you to have regrets. What I want you to understand that you will never walk in your greatness until you're able to step outside your comfort zone into your fears. And so I've got two questions to help you move through fear. Question number one, when you stand in front of fear, you want to do something and you're scared, ask yourself this question. Question number one, what is the worst thing that can happen if I take action? What's the worst thing that can happen if I take action? My philosophy is, as long as I'm not going to die, I'm gonna go for it. Because even if I get knocked down by life, I'm gonna pray that I land on my back, because if I can look up, I can get up. In life, there's gonna be ups and downs. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. But isn't it true, when you go through those low points, when you're going through those trials and tribulations, and you're forced to your knees, and you don't know how you're gonna make it, isn't that when you grow the strongest? Life is always going to be ups and downs, ladies and gentlemen, but isn't it true that by learning, going through the valley experiences, that's when you grow? And it's always going to be ups and downs, but it has an upward progression. See, there's one thing I want you to understand is that there's no such thing as failure. There's only results. If you don't get the results you want, you just brush yourself off and you say, okay, what can I learn from this? Thomas Edison, the light bulb, they say he failed. Oh man, you tried 10,000 inventions and to get the light bulb and you failed 10,000 times. He said, no, I didn't fail. I learned 10,000 ways not to do it. It's all perspectives, all in your mind. And so question number one, when you stand in front of fear, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? As long as you're not going to die, I say go for it, because even if you go for it, things don't go the way you want. You learn and you grow. That's question number one. Question number two. Well, before I share question number two, I got to ask you this. How many of you know what I'm talking about when I say would've, should've, could've, but didn't? Yep. Yeah, thank you. The woulda, shoulda, coulda game. That's not the way to live your life. And so what I want you to understand is this. Question number two is, if I don't take action, what will it cost me? Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, you get into a habit of asking those two questions, your life will never be the same again. Those two questions are powerful. Question number one, what's the worst thing that can happen? Because I'm here to tell you, the richest place on planet Earth, it's not the New York Stock Exchange. It's not the gold mines in South Africa. The richest place on earth is the cemetery. Because so many people took their gifts, their talents to the grave with them. And what I'm here to say is, I don't want that for you. I want you to go for it. I want you to say, you know what, I'm playing all out. I'm leaving it all on the playing field. And if things don't go the way I want, yo, at least I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I gave it all. That's what it's about. When you study high achievers, they had the same fears, they had the same concerns, the same insecurities as all of us in this room. But the thing is, they said, you know what? I'm going to take action in spite of. I'm going to go for it. And so question number one, what's the worst thing that can happen? If you're not going to die, I say go for it. Question number two, if I don't take action, what will it cost me? You don't want to live a life of regrets. That's how you move through fear. And the other big thing is that what I've studied in success, I find that the high achievers, movers and shakers, they are very focused on their dreams and their goals. They know where they're going. And so how many of you have dreams and goals? Of course, yeah, look at y'all are high achievers. All hands go up. How many have dreams and goals that are written down? Okay, just a few of us, all right. How many have dreams and goals and you look at your dreams, your goals that are written down every single day, 3 times a day? Okay, yeah, just 2 hands, okay. What I want you to understand is this, writing your goals down is the starting point. In the good book it says, people without a vision perish. Write the vision, make it plain that he that pick it up can run with it. And what I want you to understand is that vision, writing it down, there's something to it. 1953, check this out. 1953, researchers went to Harvard University. You've heard of Harvard? Okay, pretty good school. They went to Harvard University. They asked the graduating class, the seniors, one question. They said, what are your goals? 55% of the graduating seniors of Harvard University, 55%, had a vague idea of their goals and dreams. Some said, I want to be rich. Some said, I want to live the good life. Those are vague goals. 42% had more specific goals. They said, I want to work for this company. I want to drive this type of car. I want to live in this city. But guess what? Their goals weren't written down. They were just up in their mind. Only 3% of that graduating class had their goals written down, and that 3% reviewed their goals 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, before they went to bed. 30 years later, 1983, researchers came back to Harvard and they were shocked at what they discovered. The 3% that had their goals written down, check this out. The researchers were shocked because 30 years later, they had their class reunion, 1983. And that 3% that had their goals written down, that 3% was more wealthy than the 97% of their classmates collectively. Spiritually, they were more in tune. Physically, they were in better shape, and their relationships were more healthy. Here's what the researchers concluded. It wasn't about intelligence. They all had similar IQs. It wasn't about being lucky. They all had similar breaks in life. The only difference between the 3% and their 97% of their classmates was that the 3% had focus. They had what? Focus. When I read that study, I said to myself, I want to be a 3%. Who else wants to be a 3%er? Once your dreams have come true. Thank you. And so what I did was, I'm very visual. And so what I did was, and I carry this with me, I travel all over the world. And so this is my kind of like just an affirmation binder. On the cover it says, I, Marlon Christopher Smith, I am love, I'm God's child, I'm courage, I'm faith, I'm fun, I'm family. Because in life, there's gonna be challenges, ladies and gentlemen. I know that, you know that. And then when I open it up, boom, I say, my I am statements, right? I am love, I am courage. I've got some visuals just to remind you. So one of the things I want to encourage you, before you go to bed tonight, I'm asking each and every one of you to go ahead and create your affirmation. Some people call it goals, affirmation collage, a vision board, whatever you want to call it. But having your goals on paper makes a difference. There is greatness in this room, and there is greatness in you, and the world is waiting for you to step up. And remember this, a vision without action is just a dream.